In business tonight, regional supermarket chain Massey has positioned itself to capitalize on the expected presence of Ross University students who will reside at the villages at Coverley. Massey Stores Barbados has opened a convenience store of sorts on the location formerly occupied by Fresh Market. It has been in operation for just over a week. Managing Director of Massey Stores Barbados, Randall Banfield, is confident that Massey will perform well there.
We are told the first set of students arrive on the 29th of December, and they will be arriving in batches, waves every day for 4 or 5 days until they're all here. We are going to make every effort to make certain that we are ready and that they're not disappointed. So, you know, when you have 1,300 students descending on you for a loaf of bread, you should have at least 1,300 loaves of bread, right? So we will plan accordingly, and yeah, I think we won't let down either the Coverley team or the Ross team or the Massey team.
And in summing up 2018, Mr. Banfield says that the year was a tough one.
The first part of the year was characterized with elections coming and, you know, people being uncertain about what was going to happen. That always affects spending. Since the government have changed, we've certainly seen and felt a level of optimism that we hadn't had before. But it's, you know, when you're talking about layoffs and people hear of layoffs, I think that also impacts how freely people spend, and we're going through that right now. So retailers in Barbados, I think, ought to work harder for their money.
Well, Caribbean LED Lighting is now majority owned by the Hadco Group out of Trinidad and Tobago. The announcement was made during a media briefing at the company's Lower Estate headquarters this afternoon. Caribbean LED was established in 2011 by Jim Reed, who is now retiring. Chief Executive Officer Gerard Borley says the Hadco Group will own 70% of the company, while he will own the remaining 30%. He says that 2018 was a very strong year for the company, which is currently exporting to 17 Caribbean countries. Mr. Borley says they were recently awarded a major contract to replace all the street lights in Antigua, and he's hoping that their bid to do the same here in Barbados will be successful.
We're also working on contracts with Central America as part of one of the first initiatives that we're working jointly with Hadco on is for a street lighting contract in Central America for over 100,000 street lights. So we'll be partnering with our sister company in Honduras to see how best we can make a proposal or tender into that market. So as and when projects come up, we will expand the size of the operations.
And Co-Chief Executive Officer of the Hadco Group, John Haddad, says that he's happy to be a part of such a successful company.
We intend here in Barbados to run the business through the eyes of the team that is on the ground. They've been doing a tremendous job. They have a very strong footprint here in Barbados and the rest of the Caribbean in the utility business. That presents a great opportunity for us at Hadco. We do have 5 divisions within the group: food and beverage, alcohol, manufacturing and recycling, logistics and services, and electrical and lighting. So there are clear synergies between Hadco and Caribbean LED in terms of the electrical and lighting business. So to get into manufacturing here in Barbados is a good move for us. To get into manufacturing in the LED space is an incredible move.
And time now to take a look at how stocks traded on selected exchanges across our region. In Jamaica, Lasco Distributors Limited was the volume leader with 93,058 units. In Trinidad and Tobago, Sagicor Financial Corporation Limited was the volume leader with 30,248 shares changing hands, all for a value of $285,878.06. And here in Barbados, Sagicor Financial Corporation Limited was the volume leader, trading 2,263 shares at $3.16 each. Minding your business with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, who remind you to save smart and borrow smarter.
Ever so often on Minding Business, we get to do some firsts. And I got a first here in Greenwich, St. Lucie, where at Valwyn's Vegetable and Livestock Farm, I got to drive a tractor. While I only had the opportunity to use this fully air-conditioned green land-moving machine for the day, the man who actually owns it is Dujon Edwards. He operates his business, Valwyn Vegetable and Livestock Farm, from his Greenwich's St. Lucie hometown. He revealed when he got started.
It was started back in 2011 with a minor hiccups, but we are back up and running now with a new John Deere tractor. It's a 6125. This is a 125 horsepower tractor. We do cultivation for small farmers. We do plowing, furrowing, rotavating for farmers on the land lease project, St. Lucie area, St. Peter, and parts of St. Andrew.
He says traditionally there has been a lot of interest in farming around the island, but the numbers are not at the same levels that they used to be.
Well, it's dwindling some, but we still have a lot of active farmers out there, especially the Spring Hall Land Lease project is a very booming project right now. It produces a lot of vegetables in the island. We also have a few farmers in the area of St. James and St. Peter that also do farming on somewhat of a scale.
He adds that his company assists with the growth of all kinds of crops, but it's often dependent on the type of weather being experienced at the time.
Right now, as it is wet outside, we don't cultivate when it's wet. It's difficult to cultivate. It puts a lot of pressure on the tractor, and it could cause a lot of damage. So when it's raining, we are down, so to speak. Yeah.
And since it was raining ever so often on the day we visited St. Lucie, I got an opportunity to do what is called swiping, about the only thing you can do when it's raining. It involves the use of the swiping extension at the back of the tractor like a giant lawnmower.
We use the tractor to cut off some of the crops. For example, if a farmer had okras and they're tall before you cultivate, or a field that is bushy with grass and small shrubs, we go in and we cut it off first before we actually cultivate it.
I think I did a half-decent job swiping for the first time, if I do say so myself. What do you think? Wet conditions and all. Look out, birds, I'm coming through. Dujon also identified some of the other extensions that can be attached to the tractor.
Here we have a plastic mulch layer. This lays white on black plastic to cover crops so that you won't get weed growth between the crops. Here is the rotavator. This is used to refine the crop, the ground. This is the 3-point, the 3-disc plow. Then we have here the furrowing tool, which used to put the drains in, and a molding disc.
And Dujon adds that a number of farmers in Barbados are already aware of the importance of plowing. But sometimes, some of the more inexperienced farmers have to be reminded why plowing is so necessary.
It's important because you need to turn over the soil, you need to cover old crops, get rid of some of the seeds on top of the ground, get rid of the old crops and the old pests. You need to plow to get them buried deep in the ground so that you won't got that problem with the next crop.
Now, to get in contact with Dujon Edwards at Valwyn Vegetable and Livestock Farm, just give them a call at 242-7961 or 850-7961. And remember, for all your loan needs, whether small business or personal loans, just give the BWU Cooperative Credit Union a call at 436-5620 or email info, that's info, at bwuccu.com. So yes, I did get to drive a tractor, and I want to thank Dujon Edwards and Valwyn's Vegetable and Livestock Farm. But that's it for this week's Mind Your Business. Do have a good night.
Minding your business with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, who remind you to save smart and borrow smarter.